Dallas told me about your divine...
The divine... What, Lucian?
I under...
Respect?
Lucian's...
Lucian.
Yes.
Dallas not. A skull.
I am.
Aren't they just full?
Fear not.
I shall tell long ago.
Of course.
Silence, our king.
With the source they stole from the veil.
Really?
Shut your...
He hesitates.
Here, my one mistake.
I seek...
There is...
I was a child when it was hell. The cruel joke of my father. But now I finally have revenge. Revenge on the Seven and the God King. Revenge for what they took from me. My life. My people. My mother.
The hammer's voice...
He never even looked for me. He never even looked for her.
Dallas, control yourself.
Yes. You are right.
Dallas's reasons weren't mine to question.
With a face rip. The real and then I took her place.
While Dallas...
One more word.
I had to... As divine, I...
Maggot. With a flick of her wrist,
Don't worry.
Dallas punctuates her statement.
Yes, to strengthen
The void, you see.
the eternal.
The void of fault.
The plan is
We have made...
decide.
There is no... We only lack.
As I say, one last sacrifice is good.
The world shall not know.
We already have
Another Alexander.
the task fell.
And me.
Then let us show some.
You'll be a hero.
Don't let them do this to us.
I understand. Your sacrifice.
I'm sorry.
Struggles to rise, but the weight of his own pain leaves him to gravity's mercy.
My time is done. But you... Your source burns so bright.
Dallas groaned.
I have failed. The future of all that is
Wrong. About power, I mean. I was always kidding myself that I could only help my people if I were free. Lead them by example, you know. Thing is, I can never be free. So I must choose the... I know you'll have my back when I return to them, just like I've got yours.
Beast bows in return. There's no denying the glint in his eye. Whatever the future holds, you think back on your journey here, on all that you have seen and done. You think of the Magisters, and you think of how the Eternal... You look at the source around. You think of what you could do with such power. The rights you'd wrong, the wars you'd win. You marvel at your journey and how it has changed you. You think of those you left behind. It's time to choose. Shall you be divine? After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, all that you have become, the Aetheran lies in front of you. Divinity is your or to sacrifice. What you do next, what shall you do with divinity?
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. Dallas the Hammer, the secret eternal, purged the Godwoken and used the Source to close the veil to the void. The world was saved. Statues in memory of the Godwoken who sacrificed their Source were erected all across Rivellon. They would never be forgotten. The half-demon Malady took pity on the soulless, God-woken silent monks and brought them to the Hall of Echoes. There, from the scraps of their souls that remained, she restored them to life. Sorcerers no more, they lived out the rest of their lives, freed of the burden of being the God-woken, freed from the weight of the world. As for me, I was already free, and so were the others. The God-woken sacrifice severed the bond between the Sworn and the God-King. To atone for my sins, I spent the rest of my days taking care of the sick and elderly, telling the story of the God-woken, that the world may never forget the greatest heroes Rivellon had ever known.
Well, look what the cat trapped. To be fair, you are barely more powerful than one.
Malady stands tall and proud.
Ah, there you are. More than a silent monstrosity. Where did I go wrong? How is so... Unfortunately for me, I've grown rather fond of you. Still, I'd expected quite a bit more from you. I was interested in being owed a favor by a shiny new god, not some emperor of the realm. Never mind. I'll find another way. I always do.
She fingers the mask covering her face. For a moment, it seems as though she's about to remove it. But instead, she places a hand on your shoulder.
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. Sacrificed much. And I'd have given even more to see you fulfill your destiny.
She looks you up.
I guess this will have to do. Take a moment, why don't you? Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. The same way I do everything, of course. Demonic guile. Oh, I don't know. Around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a lover or 300. I'd say we've earned it. Perhaps our paths will until we find out.
The flaming hatchling bounce. It takes you a moment to realize the egg you've been carrying has hatched at long last. The chick trills contentedly and flaps its tiny feathers in recognition of its proud parent. It seems you've got a new mouth to feed.
You confronted your demons, in turn to confront divinity itself. A rather poetic arc. Not that your story is finished, of course. draining source from the wind, and now that I am clear of once I've come to a conclusion, I promise you'll not grateful, just tolerant. Source made for an excellent ally in matters of a demonic nature. Avoid, but I've no doubt you'll be seeing until we meet.
Beast brushes detritus from his beard. Sand, skin.
I never thought I'd be smelling the sea breeze again.
He eyes you slyly, but consents to one final tale.
The beast of the sea rose triumphant, guiding his fellow Godwoken, then began the process of rebuilding. Huh. Guess that one doesn't really end. Hey up there!
Are you okay? You don't look okay.
No more swords, no more powers. Don't worry, darling. I know you have plenty of other qualities. Reform my ways.
Her eyes flick down to your mouth. She smiles coyly, then slinks forward to kiss you. Her mouth meets yours and devours you with predatory abandon. Somewhere in the recesses of your mind, you think you hear her voice sigh, "mine." But then the kiss ends.
Something to remember me by, darling. Who knows? But a girl needs some fun.
A slight grin crosses the spirit's face.
I always thought that those who resorted to self-sacrifice were a world without source is one that will need... I believe I shall enjoy it. That is the quest. No, of course, I intend.
The squirrels smile. The purging that once silenced you
Amazing, I'm still here. I only did what I was meant to.
Gareth shakes his head.
Self-pity is as dangerous as any man I find a way to fit. And so I find out.
I suppose it's time for me to explore. I suppose it's...
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you. I will always be an ally to those. I am at the ready.
She is full of surprises. I feel better than new.
You look out to the endless beyond, and with a start, you realize where... At last, the world was at peace. The ancient Lizard Empire opened its gates. The houses disbanded, and the Empire adopted a pluralist quasi-democracy. Anyone could vote for whoever they pleased, as long as the House of Shadows approved. Justinia returned to her throne. Under her rule, the Dwarven kingdom prospered, until 2 years later, a jealous lover stabbed her in the heart with a mutton fork. Lucian made amends to the elves. He gave them lands and vast riches from the coffers of the old divine order. But the elves never forgave him. They would not trust humans again. And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort Joy, the old redoubt of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world. The Black Pit took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood became a centre of industry, trade and transport. Lohar became mayor, and Brayton Barnes grew rich until, after a public argument over import duties, Barnes died in an accident, buried under several tons of fish, and also stabbed in the back with a gutting knife. Your lizard lover finally returned to the ancient Lizard Empire, there to found the newest and most popular of all the houses, the House of Love. Lagan left his over-demanding wife and began a relationship with a local bard. In the spirit of loving generosity, he returned the ring to his now ex-wife. In a fit of rage, she threw it into the sea. You would never forget Dorothea's kiss. Dorothea herself left Driftwood for the ancient empire, ever in search of the perfect kiss. She never found it, although once or twice she came close. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Sir Gareth thanked the surviving Seekers for their service and gave them their freedom. Disillusioned with peace, he set out alone to find a new purpose. He would never stop seeking. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. Almira and Mihaly settled down on the farm. The locals liked and respected Almira. She never wanted for help, and deals always fell to her favor. She presumed she had them in thrall. The truth was, they just liked her. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. Ahu the Wizard became one of Lucian's most trusted advisors once more. He always knew that something had changed in the divine. He never discovered what that was, or, if he did, he never said a word. With Amadia silent, the priestess Gratiana left the swamps and re-entered the world. She founded an abbey in the Dragonspine Mountains, offering the last of the undead shelter from fortune hunters, novelty seekers, and ghouls. Jehan the demon hunter found himself at a loose end, so he opened a museum of demonic artifacts. He made a fortune. Lucian returned as Divine, united the races, and became Lord Emperor of all Rivellon. Only Dallis knew that he was entirely powerless. Dallis and you. The Eternal, now known as Dallis, was a secret advisor to Lucian and to his successors. For eons she would walk in the world, and would outlive the peoples and all, and wander alone amongst the dying stars. The Beast of the Sea returned to the Dwarven Kingdom, not as a rebel, but as a lawmaker. Merciful and wise, he led the dwarves into an age of prosperity. His grave looks out over the sea. And then there was you. You returned to the world as one more human among many. Your future was yours to decide. Did you accept your new status with humility, or did you rebel? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.
is dark. Come to me, the night is long. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Come to me.